Giving it all we got, giving it all we can, giving it all we got. Oh, climbing up to the top of the world, no fear, we're gonna make it. Everything we want is ours. Whoa.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Uncle Craig here in Thailand with the top 10 things to consider when driving down the highway and thinking you're going to buy one of those teak wooden homes in Thailand. Beautiful as they are, and you've probably been there if you've been to Thailand, driving down the highway or the byway, and you will see various outfits that are building these one-of-a-kind, almost beautiful golden teak wood homes, and you're thinking to yourself, man, those are beautiful. I would love to have one of those. And some of you are saying, I'm getting one of those. We bought one, and it's awesome. However, the first thing to consider when you stop by there and you look at them, and this is going to probably hurt, they're not teak. That's right. You may think they're teak, and maybe even you're traveling with someone who's from Thailand, a lovely young lady or something, and says, oh yeah, these are teak. In teak, the word is maisak, type of wood. But if it was solid teak, you would probably not want to be able to buy it because it'd be outrageously expensive. And because teak is so heavily regulated and protected in Thailand, very few people are actually able to make things out of solid teak without their certification and everything. And the ones who are making all these homes, I would say 90% of them, or maybe even 95% of them, are not using teak. They're using other wood like maidang, or what is really, it's kind of a Burmese redwood, which again is actually even harder than teak, so it's actually pretty good wood. There are companies that profess that they will, or that they build teak wood homes. Straight out, we do teak wood homes. And they can say that because they probably do use some teak. One of the companies that does do a heavy amount of teak and advertise that they do teak wood homes actually does, for the most part, it look like a teak wood home. But because the nature of teak being the wood that it is, it wouldn't be, I suppose, stability-wise, it wouldn't be great to have solid teak. You know, it's not like back in the day when you could just use whatever wood you use, and if it was just teak, you'd build everything out of teak. But now, you know, what they do is if they advertise that it's a teak wood home, then all the walls probably, and you know, the facade, everything that looks from the outside, the doors and this and that, might genuinely be teak. But supporting structures like the beams that they need underneath, and the flooring actually, and the big old beams, those big old lovely trees that you see coming down for the posts and this and that, those are not teak. I can pretty much guarantee you go there and you ask, and those portions of it will probably be maidang or a type of redwood. And there's also rosewood that can be used out there, which is, there's a Mai Ching Chang, I think that's a rosewood. But there's another Burmese rosewood too, Mai Makha. Other hard woods are being used for the structural portions of these houses. But in that case, the ones that are majority teak walls and everything, maybe the stair rails and these kind of things, those are still going to be the premium expense. Our house, and if you look at it, and I think I have videos, actually there's a video that I made that says I bought a Thai house for 1 million baht. You know, I do a whole tour of this house, and for all intentional purposes, when you communicate to someone, it's, oh yeah, you have one of those Thai teak wood houses. They go, oh, or I saw your teak house and all this, and this house is, again, like the majority of all those houses that are being made out there on the sides of these roads, whether they're big or small, is a mix of wood, a mix of hardwoods, really hard wood like my dang for the main beams and things like that, and then my ka, and probably whenever for the planks, I forget. But again, it's a mix of wood. It's all good hardwood, and it is, you know, resistant to wear and tear. It's not like regular wood, so in many cases it might even be better than teak. But to be sure, a teak wood house, if you're thinking of them out there, that's the number one thing, is it's not teak. Although I will leave a link in my description to the company that does build with a lot of teak in their homes. They're expensive, but they're a good company. We have a small knockdown house over here, and I show that in my video also. That was built a little over 15 years ago, and ironically, it was built by that company. So it's still standing, still in good shape. I did replace a couple of, I think I replaced a couple of the beams, or one or two beams, underneath, because it is over the water, so it's a little bit different. But anyway, Number two, termites. Certainly want to think about termites when buying a wooden house. It's talked about a lot. Everybody thinks it's a big problem, but the reality is it's not a problem. These wood houses, teak wood included, but houses that are made with all of this ironwood and redwood and very hard woods are naturally termite resistant. Termites don't like to try and burrow into wood that they can't. I mean, you can put a drill bit and snap it off on some of this wood. That's how hard it is. You know, and a little factoid, there are over 200 species of termites in Thailand. That's a lot of different species. Fortunately, there's only like maybe 3 or 4 that are causing most of the problems, where they're eating wood. Not hardwoods, but other structures that you might have. And those kind of termites, they're not the ones that you see that build those giant mounds and things like that. I mean, they can be bothersome, but it's really the subterranean termites. The ones that live in the ground, in the dirt, down in there. They look for the wood there. That's where they get into the roots of a tree and get up in the tree and, and destroy the tree and things like that. These termites are, wood has natural cellulose like fibers, and it's almost a fiber, and termites are attracted to that. That's what they want for food. If you have a knockdown house, as it's also called, if you have a Thai wooden house and you put your wood beams, whether they're mai dang or whatever, if you bury those wooden beams into the ground with no cement foundation, over time you might very well have a problem with termites getting to those to the bottom portion that's buried in there, because the moisture will get in there over years, will become softer, and then termites might be able to etch into it and start being able to devour it. But for this reason, if you're building a Thai knockdown house or a teak wood house, you want to be able to do it on a cement foundation. That's probably the most important thing. Build it on a cement foundation, you shouldn't have a problem. Termites, again, don't like hard wood, and they will be much more happier to go out and eat whatever's soft around, and and around your property too, and whatever. I think I have my, if you look over here, I have my nice Long Quien, which is a wagon, and although a lot of that is actually made from teak wood actually, but there are some parts that aren't, and so the termites may very well creep up into there, although it's been there for 2 years and really haven't had a problem yet. So, but things that you have laying around the property, old stacks of wood and stuff like that, are havens for termites. And so one of the things you want to do to protect your house is to be able to mitigate any growth of termites by eradicating piles of wood or whatever, eradicating termite nests you may see starting to burrow in the ground. What a lot of people do is, before the foundation is laid, the soil is treated with whatever it is, kill termites and prevent them from growing. So they do that, and then they lay the foundation on top of it. which is okay. And you can probably have a guy come around and stick a rod underneath the cement and do termite treatments, but we're not doing that. I ain't gonna worry about that. We're not having those termite issues, those kinds. If you have a cement concrete house, termites can burrow up through the house. I mean, a lot of concrete houses in Thailand are porous. Even though they're building them with cement bricks, they're not filling the bricks in from top down with liquid cement, right? They're just putting brick and mortar, right? And so those hollow blocks that are in there are havens for things to nest and grow. I remember when I knocked down that house over here, if you remember in a previous video, when I was knocking down that house before I built it new as it is now, right there on the corner, I knocked in caved in the wall there, and sure enough, there was actually I don't know what it's called, but anyway, there were snakes in there. Yeah, like juvenile snakes, and they just came out of there and fell on the ground. Whoa! But they were actually living inside of the walls of the concrete home. I'm not going to get that here, so it's definitely kind of nice. Yeah. So remember, termites are not a big problem. Number 3, the hot box effect. People tend to think that these Thai wooden houses are just hot boxes. They'll get so unbelievably hot, it's uncomfortable, and they can't cool down. Well, this is simply not true. These houses get no more hotter than a cement house. I would venture to say that maybe even they stay cooler than a cement house. If you are living in Thailand and you have built a cement house, or you've seen construction of people building Thai houses, you'll see that they don't use the 6-inch hollow blocks like they do in Western countries. They use, for the most part, these 3-inch hollow block bricks as all walls, interior and exterior. Well, when the baking sun hits a 3-inch brick, it's gonna get significantly hot. So if I walk into matter of fact, my small house over here that I built, which is brick with those bricks, if I walk in there and it's been closed up and there's no air conditioning going or anything like that, I'm gonna walk in there, I'm gonna go, whoa, it's hot. And the same I would here. I would walk up here and go, whoa, it's hot. But that's why we have air conditioning. Air conditioning units in this house keep it just as cold as it would in that house. There's absolutely, in my opinion, no real difference. So that shouldn't be a concern if you're thinking that somehow it's going to be some kind of a hot box. There's really no difference at all. As a matter of fact, because this house and many of these Thai wooden houses are built on stilts, just like ours is resting up there, the wind flow that goes underneath there is amazingly cool, which aids the coolness of the overall house itself. Some cement houses are being built with about a 2 foot, maybe 3 foot elevation above the ground, maybe because there's water in the area or whatever, but probably because they know that this can also decrease the amount of heat that's absorbed by the house, and may even keep termites and other things that live in the dirt from eating through the cement foundation and getting to the walls. So yeah, hot box, no. Number 4, mosquitoes. People think that wooden houses attract more mosquitoes. Again, simply not true. No more than any other house or any other part. Of course, standing water is what attracts mosquitoes. That's where they lay their larvae, and that's where you'll get a lot more mosquitoes. We have ponds, but these ponds are always moving around and circulated by the wind, and also the fish that are in them, which eat larvae, by the way. And we don't have mosquito problems. You can have these houses built usually with screens or without screens. If you want screens when you're ordering the house, then you just share that with them and they'll have a screen guy come and put screens in our house. We have no screens on all the windows. You think, oh my God, are you crazy? Well, we don't have bug issues and mosquito issues. Occasionally there will be a mosquito, and then you don't have a mosquito after that. And you will have bugs, but we don't get them to where it's a problem. You may see 1 or 2 bugs, and we have 2 cats, which also whoosh, whoosh, a lot of the flying bugs. What we do see during the bugging season, that we want to close our windows, so when night falls and the bugs come, and these little bug tornadoes, and I showed those in a few videos, that we close the windows for that. But mosquitoes, Not a problem at all. Number 5, Thai wooden houses are expensive. Well, they can be, as I previously mentioned, if you're buying a house from a primarily teak wood builder. But the majority of these builders, as I mentioned, they're not using teak wood. And so the houses are relatively inexpensive. And the great thing is that they can be built and on site very quick, turnkey operation. This house, our house, costs 1 million baht. In contrast, if you look at the teak builder, for the same square footage, the same house would be closer to about 4 or 5 million baht, which is about $135,000 US. Our house being 1 million, about $27,000 US, significantly different. Much rather buy a big old house for $27,000 than the same house for $135,000 and not really see any difference. Number 6, foreign ownership. Some people think you can't own the house. That again is false. A foreigner, you can own the house outright 100%. You can't really own the land that it sits on, although you could have a leasehold on the land, but you can own the house. So it becomes yours and solely yours. And the benefit of having this type of house, a side benefit you could say, is that it's called a knockdown house for a reason. And that is that if you decide to want to move, you can move your old house by having it knocked down because it's bolted together. These knockdown services may be only $1,000 or $2,000 US. You could have it knocked down and relocated to the beach if you want. It makes it kind of attractive actually that you can do that with your house. Move it to the mountains for a few years, move it to the beach for a few years, or out here on the farm for a few years. Number 8, high maintenance. People think wooden houses are high maintenance, and they're not. They're not. Actually, concrete houses are probably more maintenance. Especially if you're building a concrete house, that's all the recessed lighting and all this stuff and all your overhangs and all these things on the outside around the house. Those can be quite taxing to make sure you're keeping them free of spiders and everything else building up inside there, and especially if you have a drop ceiling or whether it's over the overhang outside of your house or a drop ceiling inside the house, all kinds of stuff can get up in that drop ceiling and live in there. These houses, you can have them built to where you have trap door in the ceiling areas, where you can easily stick your head up in there, shine a flashlight or whatever, throw your cat up in there, chase anything out that might get up in there. But usually it's sealed very tightly around the outside eaves of the house, and so you don't get those issues. And maintenance wise, I don't see myself doing maintenance. It's been 2 years. We do a few things. Obviously, there are some things I think that if you're going to have a wooden house that you should definitely have. One is a set of scaffolding, if you know what that is. Remember, it's the metal racks that allow you to climb higher, right? So scaffolding, or maybe 2 sets of scaffolding, so you can go all the way up to the top of the roof area. That way you can clean up there, clean the eaves if you want. You can repair things if the tile on the corners or something blow off because of storms and this and that. You can fix those things. And every couple of years, as far as maintenance, and we haven't done it yet, but probably will next year, maybe apply another coat of lacquer to the exterior of the house. You don't have to, the wood's fine, but applying more lacquer keeps the shine on it, keeps it really looking nice, and it does protect it somewhat. Obviously, the wood is when you get it, it's already been stained and lacquered heavily, and it's probably going to last quite some time. But like here, this side of the house faces this afternoon sun, and the hot afternoon sun can bake in here. We do have awnings. That's another plus. It's not really a maintenance thing, but it's probably something you want to consider because it does actually even make the house cooler. So one of the other things, and I think I enjoy having for the knockdown house in terms of maintenance, is a small handheld water blaster. It doesn't have to be, you could probably use one of those squirt guns if you wanted to. But I use a small handheld battery operated water blaster, stick the water in the pump in a bucket and blast away any kind of mud nests or like when the wasps come and they make those mud nests underneath your house and this and that. Blast all those things away, and or any cobwebs. You may also want to get one of those long extender duster poles, so you can dust your lights up in the eave, and keep cobwebs out of there and keep them all there swept up. You know, hardwood floors, they do make vacuums for hardwood floors, although I believe, like us, a simple dust mop or even a wet mop suffices fine. But you want to be able to keep the nice shine on your floor. You don't have to put wax down and things like that. The lacquered floor boards are probably going to stay shiny for years. Number 9, financing. People think because of the nature of a knockdown house that you can't get financing for it. Again, this isn't true. You can finance these homes just like you would any other home or any other car or piece of property that you have. As a matter of fact, many of the builders have financed homes, or I shouldn't say they finance homes, although there probably are some builders that do a builder finance, but they work with finances when the people are financing their home, so they might very well help you or guide you to the banks that actually are familiar with it and make your whole job easier in being able to finance one of these homes. Yeah. Number 10, lastly, your tie house is an asset. Wood, as it becomes more scarce, only increases in value. An example again is my smaller knockdown house, which only cost me $300,000 or $400,000 to build, now well over $1 million, but it wasn't because of the concrete or the metal, it's because of wood. The value of wood increases over time. And so in 10 years from now, this house will be considerably worth more than it was when I bought it. Maybe even enough where if I wanted to, I could buy 2 houses if I sold this house. 2 concrete houses anyway. So it's like an investment in your future. The same as if you grew trees on your property. If I grew 100 teak trees out here, well, in 10 years time, they'd be worth a considerable amount of money. More so than they are when I'm planting them. Whoa. Lastly, number 10, your Thai teak wood house or wooden house is an asset. It is a financial investment that actually is worth a lot more money every day as it goes. As an example, I showed you that I shared with you that my small knockdown house, bought it for $300,000 or $400,000. Now it's well over $1 million. It's not because of metal or concrete or construction. It's because of the wood. The wood itself increases in value. As a Thai knockdown house, I can knock this house down probably today and sell it piece by piece and get more than what I paid for it. As wood becomes more scarce, in 10 years time, I could probably get enough money to build 2 concrete houses and change my name to Jones like everybody else. Well, I hope you found the top 10 things to consider when buying a teak wood or Thai wooden home interesting. And should you have any questions, you can shoot me an email or shoot me a message in the comments. I'll be happy to explain them. All right? Until next time, thanks for watching and keep watching. I'll get back at you from here in my Thai wooden house.